What does David Bowie, the Shawshank Redemption, and land have in common? My name is Kirk Double K Barbera, and stick around for your business book tip of the day. In New York Times bestselling author Ryan Holiday's latest book, Perennial Seller, The Art of Making and Marketing Work That Lasts, he develops a whole system and theory and understanding of how to develop and create a product that lasts. Now, in the beginning I said, what does land have to do with the Shawshank Redemption and David Bowie? And all of them are perennial sellers. If you are in real estate in any way, one of the things you've probably heard is the old saying, go buy land, they're not making more of it. And there's a truth to the idea that no matter what is happening in an up economy, a down economy, a sideways economy, it doesn't matter. There's always going to be a need for land. That's just a reality of life because they're not making any more of it, not unless they shoot us out into space. And so it's a very safe investment in that case. What Ryan Holiday is teaching people and what he's trying to show them is how to make an actual business, a software product, an app, a book, a song, any kind of media, an education course on real estate development, anything that lasts. So if you're in the realm of creating anything that you want someone else to consume, you need to think, in Ryan's opinion, and I agree, something that is perennial, something that sells year after year after year. So for example, The Shawshank Redemption is a movie that stars Morgan Freeman and Tim Robbins. It was a movie that completely underwhelmed in the box office. It just didn't do well because it didn't do well with word of mouth, which is really important for movies. People would see the movie, some people did see the movie when it came out, and then someone asked them, what did you do this weekend? They said, I saw this movie, like the Shawshanking of something. And then the other person's like, oh, okay. And then they didn't go see it. It wasn't designed in the way that most movies are made to make a big, to make a big splash and really blow up. I saw the latest X-Men movie. Oh, was it good? It was awesome. Logan cut people's heads off. That spreads and people go and watch Logan cutting people's heads off, right? This movie was not designed like that. And yet it is always, if you Google any top 10 movie of any list, it is always up there. It is always one of the top 10 movies ever made, and it sells hundreds of millions of dollars, and it still sells millions of dollars every year. You turn on television, flip through it, more than likely you're going to see that it is slated to be shown sometime in the next week or two. It's always on. It's like Gone with the Wind. Gone with the Wind was made in 1939, and it's selling every year. It's still on. I was on Amazon the other day and I saw it was still slated as bestseller after 80 years or whatever. It's like these are perennial sellers. Now, an X-Men movie is probably not going to be a perennial seller. Maybe, First Class, for instance, maybe a little bit of a perennial seller. The Batman trilogy is probably more of the more recent, not the Ben Affleck one, the Christopher Nolan's version. The point is, there's a difference between creating a restaurant that is hot right now, right? And there's a difference between creating a restaurant that was created in 1880 and is still hot. And there are restaurants like that. There are businesses that last hundreds of years. There are educational courses like Rich Dad, Poor Dad that were designed 30 years ago and they're still selling hot today. So the point is, how do you do those? And over the next couple of business book tips, I'm going to go into those. And I'll leave you with the David Bowie story so you can kind of get an idea of the value of creating something that's a perennial seller, whether that's a restaurant, whether that's an education course, whether that's videos like this to teach your audience and you're going to build a book out of it, or whatever it is, a podcast. If you're in the realm of creating anything, a service for people to buy and sell houses, whatever it is you're doing, learn how to do the things that make it a perennial seller, that make it valuable today and in 100 years. So the relationship between Shawshank Redemption and land and David Bowie is this. They're all perennial sellers. And David Bowie, there was a guy, Bill Pullman, who created an investment vehicle that allowed owners of the rights to valuable songs, like David Bowie's songs, to raise bonds based on the future income streams of those perennial assets. Today they're called Bowie bonds. Since the late David Bowie raised some $155 million off the royalties of his back catalog. So if you think about it, if you're, let's say it's 2005 and you want to raise some money to make an investment and all you have is your back catalog. Well, this guy, Bill Pullman, created something that in the financial world that allowed you to go and pull off that because he was able to rate, okay, so it's making this much money over the past 30 years or 20 years, and we can estimate it's going to keep making this much money, and here's the numbers and all the stuff that makes those financial worlds go. The point is that it's as valuable, a perennial seller, a real perennial seller, education course, I don't care what you're creating, a business, a restaurant, a podcast, a real good perennial seller is something that you can treat like land. It's something that, I'm going to invest in this because I know in 30 years it's still going to be paying dividends. That is the relationship between land, David Bowie, and the Shawshank Redemption. My name is Kirk K. Barbera. I hope you enjoyed your business book tip of the day. And remember, reading is not a passive sport. It's a contact sport. So go out there and make some contact with great books.